Okay, why it's okay to stumble on our path toward what we want. Well, we're eternal. So anything that is not experiencing exactly what we want is asking for an improvement. So anytime our emotional guidance system is looking at letting us look at something, we're like, ugh, no, no, I don't want any of this. Gross, not interested. We are asking for an improvement, and Source is already on it. Source is on it. So this really fits into that kind of broad category of fall down 8 times, get up 9, fall down 7 times, get up 8. I think that's closer to the saying, paraphrased, of course. And that's true, is that if you continue to go down on your path, to feel good about gaining information, about clarifying, about, gaining that data and not judging that data, but accepting that data, viewing that data, making peace with that data, not identifying with the negative emotions that surround because of that data, then you're good to go. You're good to go for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And since we are eternal, there's going to be a next thing and a next thing and a next thing and a next thing. No matter what stage of life we are at, there are going to be moments where we are faced with decisions that will alter our path. I remember talking to one of my favorite sound recordists in the film and television world here in Canada, and he was having trouble deciding whether he was going to upgrade his equipment and to what level, and so he was making these decisions and stuff. So there's never, and he's successful. He's been doing it for a very long time. He's mentored a ton of people, including myself. He was my very first department head. I was searching for the right word. I'm like, team leader of his department head. He was my very first department head on my very first job. So, I've known him for a while, and he was already, of course, good at his job and well under, the way of his career back then. So, but, 10 years later on, he's also, am I doing this? Is this what I want? Like, thinking about it. Like, we're always going to be in a place where we've got things that we need to decide and things we need to make choices about, and choices are good. Choices are not the enemy. Choices are good. Choices help us define what we want. My mother the other day was having some issues with computer problems. She's in her late 70s, and she's still working, and I'm proud of her because she does what she loves. And even though there are aspects of her job she works for herself, even though there are aspects of her job that she doesn't like, she still does them, and she's still learning, she's still expanding, she's still growing, right? So if we look at life as a big adventure, because it is, and that there will be moments with things that are not what we want, they're just not what we want, it's okay. It's a great thing to know that it's giving us more data, it's giving us this more opportunity to grow and to expand. I like the idea of growth and expansion more than lessons, because lessons feels like sometimes a punishment. Like, well, you got to learn your lesson. You made this mistake, and so you're learning a lesson because you screwed up. And I don't like it. So it's not for me. That's contrast for me. And so what I like is the idea of expansion. Ooh, I'm expanding. And Abraham tells this story of Jerry, Esther's husband, who, it's a fabulous story that I use anytime I'm super uncomfortable in the moment about something that has come up and that's immediate. But it comes up for me all the time because I think it's such a gorgeous story. And so Esther is dusting. She had glass shelves of beautiful trinkets from all the places that they had visited because they traveled a lot for work and for pleasure. And so she was dusting and la-di-da. Something fell and all these shelves broke and all these trinkets broke, and just as a disaster. And luckily Jerry was in the room and he heard it, and he told her not to move because she doesn't wear shoes, and so he was worried about her stepping on glass. But he just came in and he looked, and the first thing he said was, oh good, something to want. So when we're in an uncomfortable moment that has choices attached to it, it's helpful to just stop around and say, well, yeah, something I want. Like, I want this situation to look a little different. I want this to feel improved. And if we never stumbled along our path towards what we wanted, we would never clarify what we want deeper than that. And so the clarifying is not lifelong, it is eternal to clarify. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to make more choices and to ask more, and to ask more for others, and to ask more for society, and to ask more for these things to be more accessible in this way or that way. And anytime we feel that negative emotion, we are asking. We don't have to spend time inside of it to make the ask more available to Source. Source knows, right? Source is intimately connected to us, even when we're not realizing it. So the request has been answered. It's up to us to line up with it. It's up to us to line up with it. So choices are good. Contrast is helpful. Without it, we wouldn't be eternal. We'd be done, right? If you're in, say, a relationship and there's nothing that's kind of where you're at odds a little bit, there's no growth, you're like, quote unquote, the exact same person, you never have any disagreements or any discrepancies, that's a dead relationship. We want to have some of these things that maybe we're just not quite on the same page with each other, because it leads to growth, it leads to expansion, it leads to a chance for us to listen deeply to the other person, help to make them feel heard, and help to do your best to feel heard as well. But to understand that you can coexist and enjoy each other and not have the exact same opinion about everything, because nobody is like that. That's why there's more than one of us here, to have these different opinions, to have these different wants, to have these different desires, and then to work our way to fulfilling them. So it's okay to stumble along our path to what we want. And I like what Neville says in his chapter on the power of awareness, failure. He talks about, there will be at some time failures in very important matters. And I remember, I listen to the audiobook often. I've listened to it at least 5 times, I'm sure more. I borrowed it from the library a few times. So I'm sure easily I've listened to it 5 times is a very low estimate. I've probably listened to it 10 times. I'll listen to it 10 times more. It's the perfect book for me to connect to living in the wish fulfilled and dwelling in the end. It's perfect for me. I love it so much, so I highly recommend it. And in it, he talks about the chapter on failure. I remember one of the first times, or it wouldn't have been the first time, but maybe I'd only listened to it 3 or 4 times, and I was listening to the chapter on failure, and I was like, no, I don't need that, la la la, I got this. But I remember listening to it at another point and being like, you know what, I can be open to this. There's something here for me. Failure's okay. It absolutely is. Failure is expansion. And so I remember listening to it, and I just was so, yeah, okay, yeah. And so his thing is, you're probably going to fail a lot in important matters with this work, with the law of assumption, with the living in the end, dwelling in the end, living in the wish fulfilled. And, it's not about how long you spend wanting that thing that you want and enjoying it and feeling the confidence of having received it, right? That's how we pray. That's how we let it in, is we feel the confidence. We ask, we say, thank you. We've received it. A change of state, a desire is a change of state. And so as soon as you realize you desire something, you just, I'll just change, I change my state and know that, well, that's a desire. If I desire it, then I have it. And thank you, right? That's the kind of little 3-step process. So, you do that part of it, and then you're living in the wish fulfilled. And he talks about how it's not about how long you stay within living in the wish fulfilled. It's the frequency at which you do this. And that's like anything. Where attention goes, energy flows, all of that. What we give our attention to, what we give our focus to, expands. These things are not new concepts, right? Quantum physics, etc. We've known about this for a long time. So putting into practice is just a reminder. Just go to that place, go to that well whenever you can, especially when you are feeling good. So you go to that well and you stumble on your path towards what you want. You go, okay, well, the pivot is, well, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, you just pivot over there. You don't spend time here, because after the request is made, spending time here doesn't really serve you. I mean, you can say, okay, I'm making my desire bigger. And that's one thing I use when I'm stuck in negative emotion. I've let it get too big. I'm like, I'm making my desire bigger. And as soon as you can, take your mind off of that thing that doesn't feel like it's working. Have a few go-tos. One of my go-tos is I love my physical body, because I like appreciating all my organs and my skin and my muscles and my bones and my veins and arteries and all the cuties working together. I just love appreciating my physical body for taking me around this planet. So that's one that I go to. Or I go to my inner being loves me. I love my inner being. Those ones always feel good. The sun came up today. I am alive. Those feel good. Oh, another day to assume my desires, another day to pursue my desires, another day to relish my desires and to enjoy my desires, another day to eat delicious food, another day to talk to friends, another day to laugh. Find these little things, these little touchstones that you can put in your pocket that you like, and go to them. Go to them as often as you can and whenever you want, and you'll reap the benefits of that. And so, since it's the frequency, it's good to think about focusing exercises that are short but focused a couple times a day, if not 3 times a day. So, setting a timer on your phone, or like the breakfast, lunch, dinner thing, or for me, it's wake up, middle of the day, end of day, end of day, I'm falling asleep in that wish fulfilled. I've got my imaginal act. It's so satisfying. I'm just in there, right? When I wake up, I'm basking myself awake. I was talking about basking the other day. So I'm basking, right? And that is all about the wish fulfilled, right? Nothing of that is not wish fulfilled. And then, so in the middle of the day, sometimes our energy legs after lunch, I'm going to my I am statements. I'm going to my, my strong, I am strong, I am well able, I am creative, I am productive if I want that day. I am blessed every day. I'm favored every day. Just going to that well. And, Neville calls it a state akin to sleep. If I've got time, maybe I'll just, lay myself down and, just, pretend I'm in a sleepy state and do my imaginal act. So all of these things get us to where we want to go, right? It's just a matter of being gentle to ourselves, that we don't spiral to what isn't useful. Spiraling just isn't useful because it just makes you feel worse. And so before negative thoughts can join other negative thoughts that bring along more negative feelings happen, we just have to have more awareness. Because once we realize what serves us and what doesn't, feeling good is our birthright. Feeling good serves us. Feeling not good is fine too. We know it's expansion. We know that an emotional guidance system is our gift, and we can do something about how we feel. And it's always our responsibility. It's never anyone else's. So when it comes to stumbling along the way to what you want, it's okay. We just gentle that for ourselves, and we just say, yeah, that's all right. It's all right to feel that way, because I am expanding. I'm relishing the expanding. Oh, good, something to want. I want to feel better. And feeling better is the start of all manifestations. So that's just a little something to think about. And I've got more coming up in the 30 days of focus. But yeah,